Hey there, my name is Cletus, and you're on the red list. Today, we're going to take an opportunity to do a book review. This will be our first video that we upload to our new video channel. Our video channel is the Red List 2012. We're going to try to put out as much information as we can. We're going to do short videos. They won't be really long videos. They're going to be as information packed as possible, so you can find out as much information as you need and then go do your own research. If you like what we do here on this channel, take a moment. If you look right up here, there's a button that says subscribe. You can subscribe. A panel will drop down that will say update. That'll give you an email every time we post a video. You can come in and look at the video. You can rate the video, thumbs up or thumbs down. You can leave a comment and we'll try to get back with you on the comments. We just ask that everybody please have respect for one another in the comment area. If a troll comes in, don't respond to the troll. Today we're going to talk about a book, and the name of the book, I'm sorry this one does not have a good dust cover. I bought it used on eBay. The name of the book is Spychips. Okay, and the extended title is Spychips: How Major Corporations and Government Plan to Track Your Every Move with RFID. And for the uninitiated, RFID is a radio frequency ID, is what that stands for. Okay, the ISBN, I'm going to give it to you slow, and then I'll also annotate it right down here. The ISBN is 1-5955-5020-8. That'll be for the hard copy. Of course, it'll look better than mine. These are available everywhere. I bought this one on eBay with shipping. I think I paid about $5 for this book. If you're concerned at all about your future, if you're concerned at all about what multinational corporations are doing to us, and they are giving us the appearance that we have choice when in fact we have no choice, if you are worried about what governments are doing, if you're worried about the surveillance that governments are actively pursuing, you need to read this book. I want to be really clear. I'm not into black helicopters. You won't hear a whole lot of conspiracy theory on this channel. You're going to hear some really good information that's backed up by facts, and you're going to see some opportunities and some information here. We'll give you some, just the beginning, and then we ask that you please go out on your own and do some research. This will give you an eye-opening look into the world of RFID and what is coming in this world and what is coming in this country if we don't resist. There's a couple points, a couple things I wanted to point out about this book. This book starts off with to let you know how Spychips came to be in the Black Ops CIA world, where we had the U.S. State Department and the Kremlin fussing and fighting back and forth, spying on one another. How that technology moved over benignly at first into products and into the retail market. There's absolute proof in this book where companies like Revlon used cameras in a product sold on a shelf in a store, that then the camera went home with the people and transmitted for a limited amount of time. It's documented in this book. There is documentation in this book that will show you where there are patents in place to have a spy chip that would be inserted through feminine protection products into a woman's body. The patents for those products exist. They're out there right now. This book goes on to talk about some of the greatest offenders, what companies are working the hardest to spy on what you and I do. This goes on to talk about what governments are doing, things that they're doing in Houston, Texas, where they used an auto pass that would allow you to prepay and shoot through toll booths unimpeded, and where they actually use that system to track those vehicles in other places other than at the toll booth. There's documentation in this book that leads to that. There's some things in this book, some astounding numbers. I've just got a few things I want to point out right here. There are, it talks about government, and it talks about, here's one passage from the book. One of the most surveilled people in all the history were the Soviets under communist rule. During Stalin's decades-long reign of terror and the KGB era that followed, government agents could intercept and read mail, listen in on phone calls, and plant informants to probe their neighbors' political views and assess their loyalty to the state. The surveillance was near complete, but did the watchful eye of the state keep the Soviet people safe? Hardly. It seems no coincidence that history's most watchful regime was also the most deadly. Between 1917 and 1987, the Soviet government killed over 60 million of its own citizens, more than any other government in the 20th century. That's what happens to a surveilled people. That's what happens to people when big government is looking down their throat. That's what you need to read this book and you need to be aware of. There's some other things I want to put in here. Quotes from Hitler, for instance. When an opponent declares, "I will not come over to your side and you will not get me on your side," I calmly say, "Your child belongs to me already." A people lives forever. What are you? You will pass. Your descendants, however, now stand in the new camps. In a short time, they will know nothing else but the new community. That's what's happening to us today. With the technology, some of the technology that has freed us and made us the most free people, in the wrong hands and not properly checked, that technology can do to our children what evil and venal people would do. That technology will help them do it. Here's another quote about Nazi culture. Nazi revolution was orderly and disciplined, but the reason lies not so much within the Nazis themselves as in the lack of effective opposition. Millions watched passively, not deeply committed to resistance. And that's what's happening now in this world. We're just watching passively. We're watching what these corporations are doing to us. We're watching what the government's doing to us. We have one side saying, the Democrats are saying that the problem is big business, and the Republicans are telling you that the problem is big government, when in fact they're joined at the hip and they're one and the same. Both sides are working against you and me, and working against our posterity, working against our children. There's a couple more quotes here that I think you should be aware of. The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those they oppress. How much endurance do you have? How much endurance do I have? I'd really just, at this point, I don't know. I will tell you that there's all kinds of legislation and available. These people have a website. The website is Spychips.com, I believe. There's all kinds of information there about different legislation that you need to be aware of. This book goes on to talk about how the inert technology that will allow a company to track a warehouse full of product will someday grow to enslave future generations. And it spells out exactly how it's going to happen, and we can't let that happen. After all, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. This book goes on to talk about governments, and it talks about how many governments, through what kind of efforts, killed their people. The numbers in here are astronomical. In the last 100 years, there have been almost 170 million people killed by government. 170 million people. And it's spelled out right here. This is not work that the people that wrote this book did. These are studies that were done in universities. It's all backed up. It's all proof. It's not conjecture. It talks about how a government forced control and then maintained control and then executed its people. It's just that simple. We cannot allow this to go on in America. Everybody comes to me and they say, what can I do? What can one person do? And one person alone can't. And that's why I'm appealing to you to read this book. There's no more powerful group of people than the American consumer. And that's the point I want to try to get across. If you'll read this book, if you will get on board, if you will boycott products that you know are using active RFID, if you'll boycott stores that are pushing hard to put RFID on their store shelves, if you'll work at these multinational corporations, is there a product that's just as good or close that I can buy from a family-owned small company as opposed to buying it from a multinational corporation? We have no one is wealthier than the American consumer collectively. And if collectively, if we will do the right thing, you will start doing the right thing in your family, we can stop or at least slow down what's happening to us in this nation. That's what I want. That's the main point I want to get across to you. A great place to start, guys, is reading the book Spychips. I won't keep any longer. I appreciate you giving me these few minutes. Again, I want you to subscribe, if you will. All you need is an email account. If you have a Gmail account, that means you already have a YouTube account. You'll be able to sign on there. If you don't have a YouTube account, it's free. You sign on with your email address. Doesn't cost you a penny, and you can follow the information that we're putting out here, and you can communicate directly with me. I want to remind you again that I'm Cletus, and for the past few minutes, you have been on the red list.